few weeks ago, I put out the call for questions for a question and answers video. Back then I'd hit 150 subscribers. Now I'm over 160, so thanks for that. Before I start, I want to thank Brenda Lee Escalon for buying me just the right amount of coffee to get me out of bed and in the morning. Thank you, Brenda. I have my phone here so that I can read the questions, and I'll of course put them down here too so that you can read them with me. So the first couple of questions comes from Astrid from Greece, and she's asking, is sewing your hobby or your job? It's definitely my hobby. I cannot live without sewing. Sewing it makes me happy in a completely different way from anything else, actually. I've gone sometimes weeks without sewing, but the further I go, the more my psyche just goes down, like so I know I have to sew at least every other week to keep my mood level. And her second question is where I live and how I spent my summer. So I live in Denmark and I spent my summer with my family and my friends and mostly just relaxing. The second question comes from Brenda Escalon, whom I just thanked before. And I want to thank you again, Brenda, who has 3 questions for me. And the first one is, how long have you been sewing? I've been sewing 15-20 years, I think, thereabouts. The first time I really remember sewing something for me was back in 1999 or 2000, where I sewed a pair of paints and I loved them. I was about 15, I think, thereabouts. I was at a boarding school and I was wearing these paints all the time. And then one day I was out walking with some of my friends and I fell and hit a hole in one of the legs. So I went to my sewing teacher and she said, no matter, we'll just cut off the bottom of both sides of the legs and then sew a new bell button on. And that's the first thing I really remember sewing. Second, Brenda asked me if I have any sewing hacks to help or advice to other sewers. I have a single hack for you guys. If you're making a skirt with a little bit of room in it, then place your pockets down at about 15 centimeters for the upper edge of that pocket. It will make it seem like you don't have pockets in your skirts and you can have absolutely heavy things in it, like your phone or your wallet or whatever. And nobody will be able to see. And thirdly, she asks me if I can share any information on the sewing magazine that I get every month in the post. And it is the Border Style magazines. And in every magazine there's a bunch of patterns. And they come on these huge, and I mean huge, sheets of paper that you spread out on your surface area and then you draw them off onto pattern paper. I have gotten these magazines for about 2 years now and I love getting them every month. I don't always use them, I don't always make something from the magazine that I get, but I love getting the inspiration that these magazines give me. And I have, as I said, all of the magazines from the last 2 years plus a few I've found here and there in the second-hand shop. So Cecilia Walker asks 4 questions. And the first question is, What do you like listening to while sewing? Number 2, do you like reading or listening to audiobooks? And if so, what type? Number 3, what's your favorite fabric to work with? And number 4, what's your fantasy fabric or garment that would be highly impractical but would be wonderful and frivolous? The second question first. I like listening to audiobooks, but I also like reading. And at the moment I'm reading this book, which is about a healing method. A little more than a month ago I went to a course to learn how to do the Reiki healing. And I like it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful way of healing because you don't have to have any prior knowledge of healing. You're getting opened up to the universal energy of life and love. And you have a master that does this for you. And the energy itself finds the place in the recipient's body where it's most needed, no matter if this place is physical or psychological. And it's just beautiful. And what do you like listening to while sewing? I like listening to audiobooks. I was listening to audiobooks before it was even something people did. I remember being 4 years old or so when our mom took me to the library to borrow audiobooks on cassette tapes. That's a long time ago, let me tell you. And then they started coming out on CD, and I didn't have a CD player, so I asked for a CD player for birthdays and for everything, and I got one at some point. I'm not sure when I got my first. But then I got one when I was about 14 and had my, I don't know what you call it in English, but it's kind of a bar mitzvah where you reaffirm that you believe in God for the entire church and world to see. And I got a CD player with a cassette tape player and a radio, and I got a few CDs, music CDs with that, and I never listened to them. I always listened to audiobooks. I like listening to videos, either on YouTube or watching something on Netflix. And I have my computer next to my sewing machine to do this, or my phone. My favorite fabric to work with. This is a hard one, because I don't play favorites. And for the fourth question about the fantasy fabric or garment that would be wonderful and frivolous, I'd love to someday sew a wedding dress. It's not going to be for me, as I'm already married, but perhaps for my daughter or my daughter-in-law. But for now my kids are 7 and 9 years old and not getting married anytime soon. Yanni asks, where do you get your inspiration for your medieval dress, and how do you make the patterns after you have drawn them? I got the idea for the channel Rachel Makesy. Nope, it was bella-mae designs. And she made this beautiful Edwardian inspired summer dress. And again I was wrong. It was Grace Kelly meets the 18th century. And I was like, I can do that too, but in my own way. And how I made the pattern, this one is a drape pattern, which means that I used my mannequin and draped all of the pattern pieces on that, and I made a couple of twirls to make it fit in all the right places. Inspiration comes from so many places, but what I've learned is I need a balance in my life. I need time to be at home, but I also need time out between other people, because my inspiration will close down if I don't have both of these. So I need time alone and I need time with people. Gold Dust says, congratulations. Do you prefer sewing more complicated projects, like the corset, or simple and fast projects? And I like both. At the moment I like sewing fast and simple projects, but sometimes I just need something that takes a lot of time, like the skirt with the flowers up the leg, or the Edwardian inspired corset dress, or that I have not worn actually, it's just hanging here. I know, I'm bad. But I can't choose one over the other, because as with my inspiration, I need sometimes to make something that's hard, that takes a lot of time, and sometimes I need to make something quick and easy and just to wear for everyday use. That was the questions that I got. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sure looking forward to editing it. You know what to do now, right? Hit all of the buttons, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye!